Hello, hello. Good afternoon. My name is Lynn Dome. I'm Woman in Cybersecurity Executive Director. We often go by our acronym WiCyS. It's spelled WiCyS, and we pronounce that WiCyS like we sisters because that's exactly what we are. We are a global cyber sisterhood. So we're so happy to be here today with Ann Johnson from Microsoft, and we have Chriselle Brown here that is a recipient of Microsoft Philanthropy's Community College Scholarship that they have going on right now in partnership with Last Mile Education Fund. So we have lots of great information that we're going to be sharing as Chriselle leads and moderates Ann Johnson in the conversation of community college pathways to cybersecurity success. So a very crucial conversation is going to be happening, one that's very useful to so many. So we're very, very grateful for you sharing a piece of your afternoon with us to review this information. But first, I'll go over a little bit about the WiCyS organization. Our mission is to recruit, retain, and advance women in cybersecurity. We have over 5,800 members with representation in over 70 countries. We also have 52, soon to be 54, professional affiliates, and those are mini WiCyS organizations. They're all throughout Africa, Australia, Canada, France, India, Pakistan, the UK, and throughout the United States. In addition to specialty affiliates like WiCyS AI, WiCyS BISO, we have one for critical infrastructure, one for cloud security. We have data privacy and cybersecurity law, LGBTQ plus pride, one for neurodiversity, and we also have military and so many others. On top of all of that, our community consists of over 180 student chapters with Microsoft Philanthropies also funding us for a global student chapter initiative. So that's our community, but what do? We provide opportunities. We have an online member forum where all our members can network and connect. We have many different skill development training programs. And if you go to WiCyS.org, you'll see that we have a tab on the top of our page that says training programs and initiatives, and you'll have the breakdown of all this information available to you. We also issue out scholarships, grants, and awards for our conference, which is coming up March 16th through the 18th, 2023 at the Gaylord Rockies in Denver, Colorado. Our scholarship applications are open for that right now. We'll be issuing out over 900 scholarships to attend that conference. So I strongly encourage you to check out WiCyS 2023 and scope out that opportunity. But we also offer opportunities for many other conferences as well. We have our Cyber Talent Emergency Fund that we partner with Last Mile Education Fund that's helping us bring this webinar here together today. And we have speaking opportunities, a Job Board Plus Plus. We have apprenticeship programs, internship programs, leadership series, leadership summits, speakers, bureaus, mentor-mentee programs, all that and so much more. So if you haven't scoped us out on our website and checked out all the wonderful ways to engage with the WiCyS org, please do so. And we owe all that thanks to our strategic partners, our tier one partners being AWS, Bloomberg, Carnegie Mellon Software Engineering Institute, Cisco, Fortinet, Google, Intel, Lockheed Martin, Meta, Microsoft, that's bringing us this webinar here today for the Cybersecurity Awareness Month. We have Optum, Sandia National Labs, and SentinelOne. So today, we have Chriselle that's moderating a discussion with Ann Johnson from Microsoft on community college pathways to cybersecurity success. We encourage all of you to please put in the chat at the bottom of your screen as many questions as you have for either Chriselle or Ann Johnson or the Last Mile Education Fund. This is an opportunity for us to help you as you're guiding and going on your cybersecurity career pathway as well. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the WiCyS newsletter. It's on our website, and you could check it out right there. So what brings us here today to have this conversation about community colleges? And Microsoft Philanthropies has been a long-time supporter and partner of the WiCyS organizations. In addition to all that, Microsoft Philanthropies recently funded our Global Student Chapter Initiative. And I'll put more information about that in the announcements that will be on the bottom of your screen shortly. Microsoft Philanthropies have also funded the Last Mile Education Fund to put together a community college scholarship, which brings us to Chriselle, who is a scholarship recipient and also a WiCyS member. So we're threading the combination of all the different ways that we collaborate and work together in multi-organizations to address the workforce shortages and to create opportunities in the cybersecurity and make those opportunities accessible. And that brings us here today for this conversation. Really, this is the first webinar that's kicking off our Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and we couldn't be more pleased that it's with Ann Johnson and Chriselle to be able to be leading this effort. So with that, I'm going to pass the mic on over to Chriselle, and she'll take it from here. Enjoy.
Thank you so much for that, Lynn. Hello, everyone. My name is Chriselle Rayvon Brown. I am from Houston, Texas. Like Lynn said, I am a recipient of the Microsoft Cybersecurity Scholarship Fund. I am currently a student at Houston Community College. Let's go, Eagles. I know you guys are out there listening. I'm majoring in cybersecurity, and I'll be graduating this December with my associates. Today, I am so honored to be given this opportunity to speak on this platform, to shine the light on all women around the world who is pursuing cybersecurity. With that being said, we have a special guest, Ann Johnson. Ann Johnson is currently the Vice President, Cybersecurity Solutions for Microsoft, with over 22 years in cybersecurity. She oversees teams responsible for helping organizations become operationally resilient on their digital transformation journey to unlock security compliance and identifying capabilities of Microsoft's intelligent cloud and next generation AI. Thank you so much, Ann, for joining us today and speaking on being a woman in cybersecurity, a topic that's just not spoke about enough. I would like to switch gears a bit, though, and dive into some experiences on your community college journey as a student, and also how you've navigated in your cybersecurity career. The first topic I want to discuss is about student loan debt. Student loan debt has been an obvious hot topic for many of us dealing with the debt and looking for relief. So in August, you tweeted, "Waiting for the privileged people with generational wealth or parents who could afford college to a pain. Please don't say college is a choice. In my generation, the message was quite clear. Go to college to have a better life. Understand Pell Grants." For myself personally, as a full-time community college student pursuing a cybersecurity degree, the financial barriers I have encountered has been really tough. I do not come from a financially wealthy background. I have had to make many sacrifices during my community college journey. For me coming across this Microsoft Cybersecurity Scholarship Program, it's been a blessing to me because it's been able to provide me financial support, not with things like essential household utilities, groceries, and I think one of the most important things that students like myself look forward to after going through our cybersecurity journey, taking our certifications. All of those things cost money, of course. So, Ann, my question to you is, can you unpack your journey from your community college journey to the corporate vice president of a major tech company? What barriers existed in your pathway, and what lessons did you learn in the process?
Thank you so much, Rochelle. Thank you, Lynn. It's really an honor to be here to talk to, as you mentioned, we don't talk about women in cybersecurity enough, and we need to continue that. And one of the ways to do that actually is to really broaden the pipeline. So my journey isn't dissimilar to many people. I was in a very economically insecure family in rural Utah, by the way. And at the age of 17, I was able to go to college under what we called an early admissions program at that point in time. Here in Washington, that same program is called Running Start. I don't know what it's called in other parts of the country. But I was fortunate for a couple of reasons. My parents could never have afforded college. But I was fortunate because I had a scholarship in speech and debate because I was a high school champion in speech and debate. I also was able to have another funding source. My uncle was actually an executive at Chubb Insurance, and they had family insurance. They had family scholarships available. So he applied and was able to get me some funds there. And I had a loan. I had a student loan. Now, back when I went to college, I went to the College of Eastern Utah, which is now Utah State University East. But I chose community college for my first step for a couple of reasons. One, affordability. I didn't know exactly where I was going to end up, but I was coming from a really small, my graduating class was 50 kids in the kind of the middle of nowhere. So I didn't want to go to a big university. I didn't think I could handle that. And this was a good transitional step for me for something that was affordable, to get my general education credits done, and to get me on the path of ultimately going to a 4-year college, which I did transfer and go to 4-year college post the community college and getting my associate's degree. One of the things for me, though, is because remember, I left at 17, I had to finish that associate's degree to get both my high school diploma and my AA. I actually didn't have an option. It was a great motivator, right? But what I would say about community college today and Microsoft's commitment and WiCyS commitment is it's a path for people that either returning to work, or people coming out of the military, or people coming from a background like I did, economic insecurity. It gives people an option that maybe a larger college that's more expensive doesn't give you that option.
Thank you for that, Anne. That was beautiful. Let's hop on to the next question. On a recent episode of your podcast, everyone who doesn't know, Anne has a podcast, Afternoon Cyber Tea with Ann Johnson, you discussed the critical cybersecurity talent shortage. In that podcast, you said, I've been in tech for 30 some odd years and cyber for 22 years. When I went to join the RSA security in the year 2000, I had no background. I was in a storage business and I did networking before that, and I did not have a technical degree. For myself personally, growing up, I've always been intrigued by technology and the way it works. I feel like I'm a part of a generation that has seen technology grow in such an amazing way. There are many different information technology routes I could have gone through. However, nothing caught my attention the way cybersecurity did. For me, the way that I knew that cybersecurity was for me was because it was something that was super confusing for me to understand, but at the same time, I continuously wanted to learn so much more about it. There is nothing in this world that excites me more than cybersecurity, but at the same time, it irritates me because of how frustrating it could be. It allows my brain to stretch out into different parts that I never knew that I never knew that I could do. But for me, my journey in cybersecurity has been very scary. It's been very confusing because I didn't have anyone in my life, or just anyone in general, who I can look up to in the industry as a support system. When I started my cybersecurity journey at Houston Community College back in 2019, I have very little knowledge of even the basics but I'm very proud of myself that I was able to navigate through it on my own. Being able to just be grounded within myself, which I'm extremely proud of myself for doing that and never giving up, because there's been so many times where I wanted to just throw in the towel and just give up. And I know a lot of people out there who are listening, they're probably on the very thin line of just saying, okay, I just want to give up on it, but don't give up, you guys. We can definitely make it through. So, Anne, my next question for you is, as a product of a community college student, and one of the best examples of the kind of talent that community colleges produce, what do you believe is the role in the community colleges in contributing to the overall talent pipeline and the pathways in cybersecurity? How can industry partners better engage with the community college faculty and students such as Microsoft initiatives to offer a cybersecurity curriculum to all U.S. public community colleges, providing training for the college faculty?
It's a big question, right? And I always reflect on my own journey. Just for reference, I have finished with a degree with a dual major in political science and public relations with a minor in world history. There's nothing about that says I'm going to be a career tech professional. By the way, I was actually had a scholarship to and an acceptance at BYU Law School, and I chose not to go. We don't need to tell that story here, but there were a lot of reasons. So I ended up moving to Los Angeles right out of college because I knew there was an opportunity. But you have to remember that my generation, right? This is a generational comment. We didn't get PCs until high school. My first thing I touched was a TRS-80, right? A Tandy TRS-80 computer was the first PC I ever saw. So I wasn't a digital native and I wasn't an early digital user, right? I mean, you're going to laugh, but microwaves were actually something that came to be when I was a kid. They weren't something that existed when I was born. I want to give you a generational feedback because it kind of informs my career. So when I moved to Los Angeles, for me, it was this matter of I needed a job. And I happened to walk into a computer store because I had been using computers in college and I knew how to use Lotus 123 and I knew how to use Word Perfect. And I said, I can, so I started in sales. That's how I started this career. So from there, though, is where the education becomes important, right? Because for me at that point in time, there was not cybersecurity curriculum at any high school or college level. There wasn't a lot of, it was coding. Coding, if you were going to be in the computer tech industry, you learned coding. But what I did is I leaned into all the vendor programs, right? I learned as much as I could by taking advantage of every vendor program that I could take advantage of, knowing that I had this huge gap in my knowledge base, but it was also pretty nascent to the industry. Today, we have an opportunity, though, to land curriculum. We have an opportunity to land curriculum at the junior high, high school levels, college, community college levels, and college levels. Community college is a unique opportunity, though, to all of those things because it impacts a different population that we're going to see in other places. When Microsoft made this concerted decision to actually fund the philanthropy programs into community college and to educate professors and to educate students, the reason we did it is we knew we had to improve the demographics in cybersecurity. There are 3 million job openings in cybersecurity globally today. And we're not going to fill those if we keep hiring the same people who have a STEM degree, 5 to 7 years experience out of a major university, right? We actually need to hire people that are diverse across a wide variety of spectrums. They're diverse in every way you can possibly be diverse, including their educational background. And we knew that to get to that population, the community college population was the best. You have young people starting college like I did. You have career returners. You have transitioning military. You have career changers. You have a very different population of people that you can actually influence and impact and drive into a cybersecurity career. It's imperative that we do that, by the way, and that we continue. We've actually expanded the community college initiative to the equivalent globally, the equivalent type educational institutions globally, because we're finding such success. We've long-term had, by the way, a transitioning military program for cybersecurity and a military spouse program, by the way, for cybersecurity. And we do some of that in partnership with WiCyS. That has been fantastic for us, again, in engaging different people into cybersecurity careers. But pragmatically, we can't fill the job openings unless we engage a lot of different people. Philosophically, we don't want groupthink. You don't want somebody with the exact same educational background, the exact same skill backgrounds, because you don't solve hard problems. Groupthink never solves hard problems. So we are really incredibly invested in bringing folks like Michelle through this program so that we can actually have people that think differently, people that come from different backgrounds, people that have different exposures and experiences, and we can fill that talent pipeline. And we'll keep investing and partnering with organizations like WiCyS and with the community colleges globally so that we can do that.
Wow, and that was amazing. For me, hearing that really resonated with me. So thank you for that and reassuring that there is a chance out there for people like me and people in the chat listening as well. Well, and I want to congratulate you, first of all, on being nominated for the CyberScope 50 2022 award, which honors the accomplishment of cybersecurity leaders who are responsible for protecting vital networks, information, and critical infrastructure. So congratulations on that. I have such a bright dream for myself when it comes to cybersecurity. Some of the ways I am working on building my skill set is by ensuring I am continuing to do my homework, because I feel like the homeworks and the labs that I have in class, they will be good hands-on work assignments for me to use in the field. So one of my short-term goals for my degree is to, of course, start working in my career field, which will be happening soon because I will be graduating soon in this coming up December. So if there's anyone out there who wants to hire someone like me, brilliant, please reach out to me. Do not hesitate. I also want to make numerous of connections with people all around the world. I love meeting new people. I love learning new things about cybersecurity. Another goal of mine that I want to do is be an inspiration to other people, allowing people to see me and my journey in the success that I've had on my community college journey. I feel like that's important to let other people know that as well, because it's been a struggle for me, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate. A long-term goal of mine is to be successful in my career, of course, showcase my success in front of everybody, in front of people who want to learn more about it. And not only that, but also be an inspiration to my little nieces and nephews. They are in grade school, so I want them to see that your auntie did it. You can go to school, you can be great, you can be successful, and you can do something that you're passionate about. So my next question for you, Anne, is how does it feel to be considered an industry visionary and leader in the cybersecurity sector? And how do you keep yourself grounded in your why?
Yeah, Rochelle, it's such a great question because I'm a first generation college student and a very blue collar family. And nothing wrong with that, by the way. But I just, my parents didn't go to college. Their parents didn't go to college. And when I think about being an industry luminary, and when I think about Cyber Scoop and Afternoon Cyber Tea, by the way, was nominated, was a finalist for the People's Choice Podcast Awards, all in the past month. I'm still that small town girl from Southern Utah that was trying to make sure she had enough to eat. I'm being quite serious. So it's hard for me to see myself that way, right? We all have this little bit of imposter syndrome that speaks in, and it helps keep me grounded. It really does. It really helps keep me grounded because I don't often see myself that way. I'm in cyber because to me it's mission driven work and I want to do the right things. And I want, the one thing that I was gifted with was a big brain for whatever reason, right? I was fortunate to have a big brain and I want to use that big brain to make people's lives better. And, throughout my career, I've made career choices into fields where I thought it was tech fields where I thought I was impacting humans. I worked, did Apple education. I did data general healthcare business. And I chose cybersecurity 20 some odd years ago because I'm like, this can make people's lives better. I chose cybersecurity, by the way, at a time when people were spending more on their coffee budgets than they were spending on their security budgets. And it was mission driven work to me. And that's kind of how I view it. So the fact that I'm recognized in the industry has to do with tenure, right? I've been doing it 22 years, but also has to do with, I think I keep this perspective of, I've heard people recently and say things like, well, I want to be in cyber because it's hot and it's cool. And that's great. If that's your motivation, it's great. If that's your motivation, I'm not going to judge you, right? It's not my motivation. My motivation is to make people's lives better. And I do believe cybersecurity has an opportunity to do that. And when I think about folks like you coming into the industry, I think that's going to help us be more grounded too. And it's going to help us stop talking. We use some, as you know, there's probably more acronyms in cyber than the military. And we use some ridiculous language that's not super interesting. When I say things to my family, they look at me and I'm like, let me rephrase that. And it's helped me with that talk track, right? Because I don't want to scare people. Right. I just want people to be aware of the risk and then make decisions. But it's a wonderful thing to be considered a leader in an industry. But at the end of the day, I have to stay grounded in what the mission is. And the mission is to make the world safer for everyone. And I'm going to continue to do that. And to the extent now, as I'm, in the later stages of my career, that I can help bring along people and bring along that next generation talent. I do a lot of mentoring. I do a lot of coaching deliberately because I know at some point that I'm going to ride off into the sunset and people need to be here and pick up the mantle and run with that mission driven work.
I definitely agree with you and could relate to sometimes I kind of shadow away from all of the accomplishments. I like to I'm from Houston. I like to just, even though I'm doing good things, sometimes I dumb it down just a little bit. But I feel like it's important for us to shine and glow and give ourselves our own flowers because we're doing good. Like you're doing a good job. I will say that. And thank you for that, for sharing that information. I want to go over to the chat and answer some questions that people have posted. Some people are asking about jobs, right? So let's say someone is trying to get in their entry level. For myself, I'm about to graduate college. What's the best way to get into an entry level cybersecurity job?
It is. I'm going to tell you, and I don't want to mislead anyone. It's tough, right? We spend a lot of time at Microsoft looking at our job descriptions to make sure we have entry-level jobs. And an entry-level job isn't you have to have 3 years of experience. We truly need entry-level jobs. We have different programs. So I'm going to speak to the thing I know, which is Microsoft, but other companies, other tech companies have similar type programs. We have a LEAP program for someone who may have skills and is returning to their career. It's LEAP that gives folks an opportunity for internship into Microsoft. And actually, if they're career returners or maybe they completed a coding class or two, maybe they have completed a SANS certificate, but they know they want to pursue this type of career. So we have that. As I mentioned, we have MSSA for transitioning U.S. military members. We have the community college program. But I'm going to tell you something, and Chriselle, you said it earlier, networking is the most important thing you can do. You need to join your local ISSA chapters, your local WiCyS chapters. You need to get to know the cybersecurity professionals in your local area. That is the absolute best way that you can actually get engaged in the industry. Link into people. I personally, because there's some fraud, don't accept LinkedIn invites from people I don't know, but find a reason to get to know somebody and then link into them and look across their network, look at what they're posting. But I'm telling you, the local WiCyS chapters, your local ISACA chapters, those type of things are really important for you to get networked in the industry. And it's an important thing in this industry to be networked.
That's a great response. Thank you for that. Have another question for you. What are some common difficulties for students that you have both noticed in computer networking and security courses?
Yeah, we give a lot. We give a lot of feedback. I always say feedback is a gift. We give a lot of feedback to the universities and colleges about training people for practical things. And one of the things that we've seen in the past 3 to 5 years is people don't come out with cloud security experience. Cloud is something that industry is racing fast to, but we have a lot of folks that are coming out with some legacy skilling. That legacy skilling, unfortunately, doesn't always translate. And so we need people that are coming out fresh with cloud skills. Cyber changes as quickly as anything else in tech. And if you're teaching on a legacy curriculum that focuses things like on-premises network security, you're doing a disadvantage to your students. And we give a lot of feedback, by the way, at the university and college level about those things. That to me is the biggest barrier to success, because if someone's coming and applying for a job that's requiring them to be a SOC, a security operations center, level 1 analyst for a cloud environment, and they don't have any skilling in cloud, it's a really tough thing to get a job.
So people learn cloud.
Yeah, please learn cloud.
Another question. I feel like this is a really good question. This can kind of pick your brain a little bit more. If you can wave a magic wand and wish for anything, what would you love to see happen in the cybersecurity industry in the future?
I would like to see, and this probably is an interesting topic when we're talking about talent, but I'd like to see a lot more automation and a lot less need for humans to do rote or basic tasks. The more we can take the human brain and apply it to really complex problems, the better we're going to be in cybersecurity. And the more we can automate so that the humans can focus on more complex tasks and can focus on being more proactive as opposed to sorting through 1,000 alerts, the better the industry is going to be. So for me, the magic wand is automation powered by ML and true machine learning and true artificial intelligence that frees up the humans to do really complex things.
Okay, thank you for that. Have another question. Someone says, hello, thanks for the opportunity to ask a question. There are tons of cybersecurity jobs open. Tech has been predominantly male, right, in the industry. The exams to attain certification have historically been mastered by those same men. Opening up the door to diversity to fill open job roles in cybersecurity may mean giving a chance to people who don't test well, but they perform excellent. What will it take to make it more feasible to actually land a job in a cybersecurity role? And I'm sure this is coming from a female perspective.
Yeah, and I'm going to give an answer from actually a man and it was a really good answer. So we have in a couple weeks, AJ Yon, who is the CEO of a company called WiCyS and is really a big voice on cyber skilling and bringing diverse talent into the industry. I interviewed AJ for my podcast, and one of the questions I asked him was, what certs does it really take to get into a cybersecurity career, and what advice would you give people in getting into that career? And it's not the things you thought. It's not going and getting your CISSP, and it's not going and getting some of those heavier certs. It's taking some SANS courses, SANS. It's working with organizations like WiCyS. It's getting some baseline training so that you have a baseline of skills. Those are not things that are going to require you to test for a major cert. Those are going to require you to prove that you have aptitude, and then your employers are going to say, okay, I know they completed this course or they completed, a training that's relevant to the job I want to hire them for. Also remember something, and I was coaching someone recently who asked me to review their resume, and they have a very good resume, but here's what I said to them. We see 2 million plus resumes a year at Microsoft. I just need to give you that perspective, as do most big tech companies, and smaller tech companies see a lot. We all lose machine learning. Before you ever get to a human, a machine has looked at that resume. If you are applying for a job, make sure that the keywords that are in the job description are on your resume. That is the biggest piece of advice. You need to get through that first screening so you can actually talk to a human being. So read the job description carefully and make sure that you've highlighted the keywords that you have and skills you have that are the same language that's on the job description. Is the best piece of advice I can give you, at least to get to the human conversation. And then when you get to the human conversation, you can start positioning and selling yourself. But most people get knocked out before they ever talk to a human.
Definitely agree with that. You're dropping some gems here today. Someone wanted to know what keeps you up at night.
It's a common question we get asked in cyber. It's what we don't know, right? And I know that sounds like a really basic answer, but it's the lack of visibility. Every customer or organization I'll talk to globally is worried about the lack of visibility. It's something like SolarWinds, right? They were in environments, it's been public. I'm not going to, I talk about things that are public. They were environments for months, right? And no one knew they were there. That's what keeps me up at night. It's what we don't have visibility to. An attack that's happening right now that we don't know it's happening somewhere, on the planet.
Yeah, agreed. What do you want your legacy to be?
It's such a, I've been asked that question a lot. I don't know. I'm joking. It's a reflection of age, I suppose. But I want my legacy not to be that. Well, two things. One, I've taken care of my family. That's really important to me, by the way. You heard how I grew up. So it was really important to me that my family was economically secure. And I've been able to do that. I've been really fortunate to do that, right? 35 plus years in tech. But really what I want my legacy to be from a professional standpoint is that I help people, that I brought people along. It's one of the reasons I do mentoring and coaching, et cetera, is so I can bring people along. And there was a man who had worked for me for many years in a couple different companies who retired this last week. And he told people, he hasn't told me this because he probably knew I'd have a reaction, right? An emotional reaction, that I was the second most influential person in his life other than his wife. That type of legacy is not something you can buy. It's not, it's like, wow. The other thing is I've done a lot over the years of giving people, I give passes to Black Hat, by the way, every year I give 5 passes to people. I just give them, they're from me. They're not from anyone else. And I read people's backgrounds and I try to give them to people who are career changing or underrepresented or transitioning or whatever it is, right? And I get the kindest notes from people that how it changed their life. And if I can have that impact on one person, it's really impactful to me.
I feel like that's kind of correlates with what I would like to do in cybersecurity. I want to make, if it's just one person, then that makes me happy. So I definitely agree with that. We have another question. What is your opinion on how cybersecurity is represented? It's represented in the media.
Oh boy. Look, the media, there are some really good tech journalists that understand cyber, right? Let me start there. There's more that don't understand cyber and they're doing their best. I think everyone's got good intent. Well, here's what I would say. Media today is driven by clicks and revenue, right? So you need to read every story with a lens of, they're trying to obviously increase the readership because that's their business, by the way. So you need to read every story with that lens. You need to understand that not everyone who's in the media understands cybersecurity, and also understand that they tend to interview the same 3 to 5 people all the time. The same, every story has the same leader from this company. And I'm like, I'm really tired of hearing that person's opinion. There have to be more people you can call. Also understand, though, that those of us who work in companies don't go talk to the media. We do not have carte blanche. I can't go call the Washington Post and have an interview about cybersecurity, right? That's all very governed. So, understanding all of that, I think the media is doing their best. I do think they could be better. I think they could invest in being better educated. If you're going to cover a topic, I think you should be a little better educated in it.
I agree. We have another question. Are there any new scripting languages you would recommend a student to start learning?
Yeah, I hate to say this, that's a little out of my area of expertise, but I'll tell you what I hear from my engineering peers. We use a lot of Python here. JavaScript is still pretty popular. Those are kind of the two that I hear a lot, but I am not a coder in any way. It's a little out of my area.
Right. We have another question. What was your path not chosen? Or in other words, if not cyber, what would your alternative career be? That's a good question.
So I was supposed to be a lawyer, right? From the time I was in high school through the time I graduated from college, I had a scholarship. I had an acceptance at BYU. I was supposed to go to law school. I wanted to practice, by the way, I wanted to practice international law. I wanted to work on treaties and arrangements globally. I mean, I had this whole path. And that summer, I realized something. I realized that I had spent 4 years in college struggling because while I had a scholarship, I still had to eat and I still had to have housing. And I had a scholarship to law school, but again, it was just tuition and fees. So I still had to eat and I still had to have housing. And I was tired. You go to college, and I worked, by the way, I worked the entire time I was in college. I probably didn't mention that. So I was a waitress because I learned that tips are really a good thing. And so I worked the entire time I was in college. I worked at 7-Eleven on the graveyard shift, and I worked as a waitress. So I was really tired. And I said, look, I am not going to go to law school right now, and I'll go back. That infamous, I never went back. And by the way, I regret it. I regret that I at least didn't get the education, even if I wasn't going to practice law. Once I started in tech, though, done nothing else since I graduated from college, but have a tech career. I was so enamored with tech, and it changed frequently, and it was fun, and it also helped me be financially secure. So, but that was the career path. And my family to this day, my parents have passed, but they actually considered me an underachiever. Because I wasn't remember, they were not college educated. They didn't understand the tech industry. They were the silent generation, right? And they felt I should be a doctor or a lawyer or a professor, a professional, right? And I do regret that I didn't finish my law education, but I was not going to be a lawyer. After 5 years out of college, I was like, yeah, I have no desire to be a lawyer. So that was the path not chosen.
Okay. I could see you being a lawyer. We have another question. Someone asks, do you have any resources for introducing adolescent girls to the world of cybersecurity?
There is, and I don't have them at my fingertips. I wish I did, but there's actually, there's Girls Who Code, which is a great organization. Lynn's not live, but she could comment on whether WiCyS has resources for folks that are for younger folks. The other thing is I'm on the, and maybe Lynn could put something in the announcements for folks if they have resources. I'm actually on the board of an organization called the Security Advisor Alliance, and it's a group of CISOs, by the way, that we do hackathons this is US focused in the 7th grade, so 12-year-old through high school level. We do one-day hackathons in underrepresented communities. Deliberately to try to introduce people to cybersecurity careers and try to generate interest at that level in cybersecurity careers. We still have a problem in STEM education where girls drop out between 8th grade and 10th grade is kind of around the metric. It's 7th and 9th. So we still have a lot of work to do to keep girls engaged and interested in STEM-based careers, but I don't have resources at my fingertip. I'm hoping Lynn does, otherwise I can follow up.
Okay, thank you for that. Another question, I'll just generalize this one. Someone wants to know, what's the best way to get a mentor? Is that by reaching out to your school organization besides WiCyS in school? What's another way?
Ask. So, people ask me that question a lot. At the school level, again, ask if you want a professor, or maybe it's a teacher's aide or another more senior student. People don't ask for mentors because they're afraid to ask for mentors. So here's my advice to you is understand what you want from a mentor. Write it down. Here are the 5 things I want from a mentor. Go look and see who in your circle of influence, even if it's a second connection, has those skills or you think could bring that to you, and then ask them. They may say no, but most good mentors, and I say no at times because I won't mentor someone if I don't think if I don't think I'm what they need, but B, more frequently, I don't have the time to do a good job. I'm not going to do a bad job mentoring. So, but I'll refer people. I'll say, try these 2 people. They might be good sources for you. And so if you get turned down, say, well, do you have any other recommendations? But that's that networking piece. Broaden your circle of people and then ask for recommendations. And also mentor-mentee program, which I participated in, by the way, for WiCyS, opens in January or February of 2023. So WiCyS has an excellent mentoring program. I know it because I was a mentor in the program for a year. And I will tell you, it's and it's a good thing. I say this as a positive comment. It was a heavy lift as a mentor, and it makes you as a mentor better because it makes you engage. You can't, as I say, phone it in. You actually have to be actively participating as a mentor.
All right. Thanks for that. Okay. Well, that's it for the chat. And thank you so much again for sharing your journey and your experiences with us today. Do you have any last takeaways that you would like to give the audience, being that we are all navigating into our cybersecurity careers?
Yes. Be fearless. Look, I started in tech, and you can imagine 35 years ago, I most frequently was the only woman in the room. And by the way, everyone was white. And I'm being really honest, right? I was surrounded by a bunch of white men. And I learned early on that I was going to get talked over, that I was going to get dismissed, that I was going to get devalued if I didn't stand my ground. And my best advice to you is to fake the confidence when you don't have it, because we don't bring it every day. Okay. No, you can't bring it every day, but fake it. The second thing is make sure you're surrounding yourself with a network of people that you actually, friends, colleagues, etc., that you can actually lean on in those tough times, because tech is a tough career, and cyber is an especially tough career. We have more bad days than good, it feels, but you feel a sense of accomplishment when you get through them, by the way. And understand that you are going to face adversity and you are going to face challenges, but don't let that discourage you. Be strong, be self-aware. Take coaching and feedback, but do not let anyone gaslight you and tell you that you're less than you are.
That's a good feedback for that one. I want to go back to the chat really quick. Someone asked, what country or region is a great example of strong cybersecurity industry?
US gets it right, by the way. Australia is really, really strong. Singapore is a really, really strong. Israel. Those are places that have really strong cybersecurity cultures. I would say Singapore and Israel are probably two of the strongest. Remember, they're very small countries, so it's a little easier. Australia, US, and the UK is okay. Those would probably be top of mind. Those would probably be the top.
Thank you for that. I believe that was the last question in the chat. Again, thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you for sharing those words and allowing me to even speak with you on this platform. I'm truly honored, and I would like to pass the mic over to Kendra Grady from Last Mile Education Fund, who will be sharing more information about the Microsoft Cybersecurity Scholarship Funding. Kendra, you can take it away if you are here.
And I just want to thank you, Chriselle, and I want to thank WiCyS and everyone for the opportunity. It's been tremendous.
Yes, I'm glad I could be here and be on the screen with you.
I think we're waiting for Kendra also. So
okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Why cybersecurity? Why did you decide to go down this path? What was your driver?
Yeah, so for me, I always love information technology, anything IT. Like since I was in grade school, like 8th grade, that's when I first touched, I had keyboarding class, right? So that's when I first joined, or there go Kendra. Hold on one second, Kendra. That's when I first realized I wanted to do something in IT. Of course, I didn't know what path it was. I had no idea what IT was in the 8th grade. And I kind of put it to the side as I went through high school and beginning of college. And then I was like, okay, I really want to go into IT because that's what I find my passion in. I tried to do athletic training, kinesiology, and for me, I thought that's what I wanted to do, but I wasn't happy doing it. So when I got the opportunity to go back to school to do information technology, I felt full. I felt happy doing it. And like I said before, cybersecurity was a thing that like, it confused me so much, but I could not stop thinking about it, honestly. And I also love to do it. I love to go into the command prompt and pinging other devices to see the connectivity and stuff like that. So that's why I decided to do cyber. And it's also to help people. I want to make a difference in the world. I want to leave a legacy for people to look back and see like, oh, Chriselle, she was this person. She did this in cybersecurity. She changed things. She knocked down doors and kept knocking until people heard her voice, and she did good. So that's why I chose cybersecurity.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. Good to see you, Kendra. Have a wonderful day.
Bye. All right, I am Kendra from Last Mile. Let me cue up the slides. Just 1 second. All right, so the Last Mile Education Fund is honored to partner with Microsoft to invest in the potential of 10,000 community college students in cybersecurity programs across the nation. As part of our partnership, we are actively encouraging any community college students in cybersecurity pathways or cybersecurity related pathways who have financial need to apply to our Microsoft Cybersecurity Scholarship Program. All right, so who's eligible to apply? Students currently enrolled in cybersecurity related programs at a 2-year institution, such as a community college or technical school, and students who demonstrate financial need, say by being eligible for the Pell Grant or providing their financial aid award letter, are encouraged to apply. Any of these kind of assistances are available. Emergency financial assistance up to $500 or subsidies to cover the cost of cybersecurity certification licensing exams up to $375. Free LinkedIn premium accounts and access to GitHub Student Developer Pack. We'd also like to highlight our fund and our partnership with WiCyS, which is an emergency fund up to $599, especially open to any women at any institution studying cybersecurity. So that may be a 2-year institution or a 4-year institution. Students can learn more and apply at lastmile-ed.org. If you have any questions, please email us or drop it in the chat and we'll follow up with you. All right, thanks everyone and enjoy your week.